Hello and welcome to Lecture 4 on Chapter 4. So, we're still talking about the adaptive nature of sleep. We've talked about the restoration theory, that sleep helps our body repair and our mind and our psychological states to repair themselves. The facilitation of learning, that REM sleep allows our brain to practice what it's been learning throughout our day and strengthen neural pathways to help with learning and memory. And now we're going to look at the circadian rhythm theory, or the circadian cycles. You can use the terms interchangeably. I've just always used the term circadian rhythms. That's what I learned as a student. So if you see the term circadian cycles, just know that they're the same thing. So a circadian rhythm are the cyclical daily fluctuations in biological and psychological processes that are regulated by our environment. So it's your body clock. Now, your entire body clock is regulated by sunlight. It's not how bright the sun is, how bright the day is. It's how much sunlight as far as the length of the day. So, how many hours of sunlight do we get at any given time? That regulates our circadian rhythm. So it's the hypothalamus. This structure right here, if you remember from Chapter 3, we have our thalamus right here, and we have our hypothalamus right here. And a hypothalamus is set by sunlight. When does the sun come up and when does the sun go down? So, we have multiple neural mechanisms involved in producing and maintaining circadian rhythms of sleep. So there's a tiny structure in the brain called the pineal gland, and it secretes melatonin. And I'm sure you've all heard of melatonin. It's a supplement. Our brain makes its own melatonin. As we get older, once we start to hit middle age, our brain doesn't process melatonin as well. I can't remember if its production level goes down. I just know that our brain isn't using melatonin very well as we get older. But let me go back to my image right here. Here we've got the hypothalamus. So here we have the pineal gland right here. So the pineal gland is right behind the hypothalamus. The pineal gland is the gland that secretes melatonin, and it is regulated by the hypothalamus, which is regulated by the sun. It's the sun that sets our body clock. And it does that by telling our hypothalamus when to do certain things. One of the easiest ways to set your circadian rhythms is to be in a set sleep schedule. I'll talk about that. So, melatonin is a hormone that travels through the bloodstream and affects various receptors in the body and the brain. And it is regulated by sunlight. So when the sun goes down, the pineal gland begins to release melatonin. So our melatonin levels go up, and that makes us sleepy. Melatonin can be used as a sleep aid, but we make our own melatonin. Often, usually you don't need to supplement with melatonin. So when the sun goes down, melatonin is secreted, and that makes us sleepy. When the sun rises, our melatonin levels go down, they decrease, and that allows us to wake up. Let's see, just a second. There's a little more I wanted to say about this. It is critical to have a set sleep schedule. You need to get up at the same time every day. That is how you regulate your entire circadian rhythm cycles is the time you wake up. That way, your brain and the sun can correlate, and it sets your entire body system. So I'd like you to go to Moodle, to the folder titled Chapter 4 Consciousness Lecture Videos, and watch Our Natural Sleep Cycle. Welcome back. Isn't it interesting that when we don't have artificial light, we go to a 25-hour day? When we're blocked from any light and only have artificial... Sorry, how did they do that in the cave? I forget how they set it up in the video. Okay, just watch the video. But the subjects in the study would go to a 25-hour sleep schedule. They would sleep 15 minutes later one morning, and then the next morning, and then the next morning. I found that really interesting. We live on a 24-hour planet, but we have a 25-hour brain. That's interesting. So some examples of your circadian rhythms. And these are typical. That doesn't mean this is what it is for everyone. So women are most likely to go into labor at about 1 a.m. See, melatonin peaks around 2. Asthma attacks, 4 a.m. This is interesting. Your stress hormone increases. Cortisol levels increase around 6 a.m. Your chance for heart attack and stroke is its highest around 8 a.m., so first thing in the morning. Our body temperature fluctuates throughout the day. Blood pressure fluctuates throughout the day. Pain threshold is at its lowest at 9 p.m. And I've got some more. Peak mental alertness, 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Peak perception of sensations, 3 a.m. and 6 p.m. Ask yourself why 3 a.m. would be a time of peak perception of sensations. It's because of dreaming. Now, we'll talk about dreaming soon, but, dreams are very vivid. The sensations within dreams are pretty intense. And it's interesting to me that our circadian rhythm is set so that one of our periods of peak perception of sensations is around when we would be dreaming. Let's see. Pain sensitivity, sleepiness, allergic sensitivity. And all of this is regulated by the sun. Now, I know some of you are early birds, and some of you are like me, you're a night owl. You are what you are. If you are born a morning person, you are a morning person. That doesn't mean that you can't adjust. It simply means that your natural rhythm is to be a morning person. Night owls is the same thing. If you're a night owl, you are a night owl. You might have to adjust, but you do best on a night owl schedule. That's just your innate circadian rhythm pattern. So I found this, I think it was in Newsweek, and I found it really interesting, looking at morning people and night owls. And when is a good time for things like creativity, problem solving, things like that. So for morning people, they do really well cognitively that first part of the day. From 6 to noon, they have a really solid period of productivity. Then they need their little break time. And then mid-afternoon, about 2:30 to 4:30, they have another spurt of productivity. rejuvenation time, and then about 8 p.m. they're just done. They are done. My mom is an early bird, and for the longest, now that she's retired, I can call her after 8 p.m., but it used to be that the rule was don't call after 8 p.m. unless it was important, because she was an early bird, and after 8 p.m., she just couldn't function. She just needed she needed peace and quiet. I, however, am a night owl. I am still going nice and late. I'm going until 1 or 2 in the morning. 8 p.m. is one of my most productive times. So for us night owls, we don't do well in the morning. We just don't. It takes me a good 2 hours to wake up completely, to really get going. We have a period of productivity from about 10 to 1. And then we have that, midday sleepy period that all humans get. Then this is the rest of the afternoon is a good time for rejuvenation, for doing life stuff. And then your big spurt of productivity is in the evening, from 6 to about 11. That's when I do most of my lectures and exams. Usually around 7 is when I get started on those things. I just get a lot done at those times. Earlier in the day, I don't get it as much done. And I don't get it done as well as I would like, because I'm a night owl. Okay, I hope you found that interesting. And thank you